Let's get one thing straight. This isn't a book about enlightenment, chanting under the moonlight, or giving up your material possessions to live in a cave. 10% Happier is about how a self-proclaimed meditation skeptic, an ambitious, high-strung news anchor, accidentally stumbled upon mindfulness and found that it made his life just a little bit better. Not perfect, not blissful, just 10% happier. And honestly, isn't that a pretty good deal? Dan Harris, the author, wasn't looking for inner peace. In fact, he was the last person you'd expect to embrace anything remotely spiritual. As a journalist covering war zones and political scandals, he thrived on adrenaline, speed, and competition. He was ambitious to the point of obsession, constantly chasing the next big scoop, the next promotion, the next success. Then in 2004, everything came crashing down. Harris had a full-blown panic attack while reading the news on live television. His heart pounded, his breath became shallow, and he lost control. Millions of viewers watched as a professional news anchor became visibly overwhelmed. It was humiliating, terrifying, and as it turned out, the wake-up call he desperately needed. What followed was an unexpected journey into the world of meditation, self-help, and mindfulness. One filled with skepticism, frustration, and eventually surprising insights. If you're rolling your eyes thinking, oh great, another self-help book preaching about inner peace, stay with me. This one is different. Harris doesn't sugarcoat his experience. He doesn't promise enlightenment. Instead, he tells us, in his signature witty and self-deprecating style, how he became just a little less miserable, and why that small improvement made a big difference. From panic attacks to seeking answers, a journey begins. After his infamous on-air panic attack, Harris had a harsh realization. His life was out of control. He had spent years covering war zones, reporting from dangerous places like Iraq and Afghanistan. The stress, combined with his ambition, led him to make some questionable choices, including dabbling in recreational drugs to unwind. For someone who had spent his career priding himself on being sharp, rational, and in control, this sudden breakdown was terrifying. What was happening to him? More importantly, how could he fix it? Like any good journalist, Harris went looking for answers. He turned to therapy, self-help books, and even religion, hoping to find something that would quiet the never-ending mental noise that fueled his anxiety. That's when he stumbled upon an unlikely source of wisdom, Eckhart Tolle. Tolle, the famous spiritual teacher and author of The Power of Now, talks a lot about the ego and how our minds trap us in endless cycles of worry, regret, and self-doubt. Harris found himself intrigued, but also incredibly skeptical. Could it really be that simple? Just be present? Just let go of the constant chatter in your head? It sounded ridiculous. But as he dug deeper, something started to make sense. He was a prisoner of his own thoughts. He was constantly living in the future, obsessing over success, fearing failure, and never truly experiencing the present moment. Maybe Tolle was onto something, or maybe Harris just needed to keep searching. Discovering meditation, the most annoying but effective solution. Harris's real breakthrough came when he met Dr. Mark Epstein, a psychiatrist who introduced him to meditation. At first, Harris had every reason to resist it. Meditation is for hippies. Meditation is for monks. Meditation is for people who don't have real jobs. Meditation is for people who enjoy listening to the sound of their own breathing. Weirdos, basically. But Epstein, a down-to-earth doctor, presented it differently. He told Harris that meditation wasn't about chanting, emptying his mind, or seeking enlightenment. It was about training his brain, like going to the gym but for his mind. Harris decided to give it a try, expecting to fail miserably. And he did. His first meditation session went something like this. Sit down. Close eyes. Focus on breath. Think about what to eat for dinner. Remember to answer an email. Wonder how long this is supposed to last. Realize he hasn't been focusing on his breath at all. Try again. And this, as it turns out, is exactly what meditation is about. It's not about stopping thoughts. It's about noticing them and gently bringing your focus back. Over and over. Much to his surprise, after weeks of trying, Harris noticed something. He was slightly less reactive, slightly less anxious. He wasn't turning into a blissed-out guru, but he was feeling just a little better. And that's when it hit him. Meditation wasn't about some magical transformation. It was about being just 10% happier. Science backs it up, the real benefits of meditation. Being a journalist, Harris wasn't going to take this whole meditation thing at face value. So, he did what he does best. He investigated. He found compelling research showing that meditation actually changes the brain. Studies show that regular meditators have less activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and stress, increased gray matter in areas linked to focus and emotional regulation, a stronger ability to control their reactions to negative emotions. In other words, meditation isn't just some mystical practice. It's a scientifically proven way to train your brain to handle life better. It wasn't a miracle cure, but it was practical, measurable, and most importantly, it worked. The 10% rule: small gains, big difference. The beauty of 10% happier is that it doesn't promise perfection. Harris isn't telling you that meditation will make your life flawless, that you'll never be stressed, or that you'll achieve eternal peace. Instead, he's saying that with meditation, you might be 10% less likely to snap at your coworker. You might be 10% more patient in traffic. You might be 10% better at handling setbacks. It's not about becoming a different person. It's about making life just a little easier. And when you add up all those 10% improvements, they start to make a real impact. Final thoughts. Should you read this book? If you've ever felt overwhelmed, anxious, or caught in a loop of never-ending mental chatter, this book is for you. If you're a skeptic who thinks meditation is nonsense, this book is especially for you. Harris's storytelling is sharp, funny, and brutally honest. He doesn't pretend to be an enlightened guru. He's just a regular guy who found a practical way to deal with life's chaos, and he's sharing it in the most entertaining way possible. So, should you read 10% Happier? Absolutely. Worst case scenario, you get a few laughs. Best case scenario, you become 10% happier. And honestly, that's not a bad deal. Stay tuned for more enlightening content. Head over to www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share the magic with friends. And let's grow together through the power of books and interesting stories.